What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's episode of Outside the Arena with Rob and Griff. I'm Griff and Tennick, joined by my co-host Rob Goldberger, and we're back this week. Sorry we missed last week. Some difficulty scheduling and just finding time. So we're back though. We're filming a little Wednesday episode. We're gonna get the episode in whenever we can. So we're excited to talk some sports today, and it's been a wild 2 weeks since we've filmed the podcast. We've seen my New York Mets lose the division and then lose in the wild card round, which was an awful 2 weeks to say the least. We've seen Tua Tagovailoa. I think we filmed the Thursday before the
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
and then he obviously suffered that big concussion. That spurred a whole controversy. So we saw week 4, week 5 of the NFL season. We're going to talk about week 5 specifically, also preview week 6. But we are going to start today's episode off by talking about the MLB playoffs. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about them yet. And it's been a crazy first week or so. Obviously, I think kind of the headline for the wild card series was that the Mets were eliminated. Obviously, they just didn't play well. And when your ace Max Scherzer gives up 7 runs, Chris Bassett didn't have anything in the offense, gets 1 hit. That's what's going to happen to you at the end of the day. So I don't really have much more to say on that. I mean, obviously, Phillies. I mean, let's start with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Obviously, they beat the Cardinals. They sweep them two to nothing, and then win game 1 against the Braves. Game 2 today is looking a little iffy depending on the weather, but
It looks like
obviously,
yeah. Looks like they're gonna start at like 6:30 today. That seems to be the plan.
yeah. So they'll start later today, but obviously, a great postseason so far for the Phils. Rob, what do you think so far, and realistically expectations the rest of the way?
Yeah, I mean that was sort of the formula in the wild card series that they're gonna want to follow. Just ride Wheeler to victory, which is what they do. I mean, both of those guys haven't allowed a run in 14 innings of their last, but so 28 innings combined from those guys. I mean, they're both aces. That's sort of going to be like sort of their plan for success. But really, the bottom of the lineup has been contributing a lot. I mean, Nick Castellanos, obviously, who has been pretty bad all season, had a fantastic game yesterday. And since he's a known elite defensive player, made an unbelievable play at the end of that game
That
defensively.
was
That
maybe like the luckiest, like stick the glove out, like make a
to
little
be fair,
slide catch
to
ever.
be fair, it was luck.
It was
Luck.
like it wasn't lucky, but like he just stuck the glove out, and like that slide was like so sketchy too. Like if he missed that, that was like a triple easily. It
Yeah,
was
no, I
so
mean,
funny.
save the
It's
game.
a
But
good catch, though. Very good catch.
yeah, I mean, obviously Bryce Harper seems to have he had 2 infield hits yesterday, obviously, but he also crushed a ball that might have gone out in some parks. I mean, he seems to be swinging the bat a lot better than when he got back first, return from the IL. But look, I mean, guys like Alec Boehm are contributing. Guys like Edmundo Sosa, who was picked up in the middle of the season, have come up huge so far in the plus. But they're just going to end up having to ride their starting pitching at the end of the day, and that's what they're going to. I mean, winning that game yesterday was so big because winning that game yesterday was really a luxury because your plan was really just to ride Wheeler and Nola to success against this team. And I got it like Max Fried, just terrible showing in the postseason. He's in postseason ERA over 4.5 right now. So I mean, not great. But yeah, Griff. I mean, you have any thoughts on
Yeah, I
this?
mean, I think that yesterday the Braves didn't look like the Braves, if that makes any sense. Like offensively, they left a lot of guys on base, which if that's going to happen, the Phillies are easily going to win the series. I agree with you. Like that was a must win for the Braves in terms of matchup wise. They had a huge advantage, and Max Fried didn't show up. And like you said, like the Phillies are playing really well. Like they have a lot of passion. They want to win. They're really aggressive. They're making all the right moves, and yeah, I mean, outside of Zach Eflin, who almost completely blew it yesterday, and I don't quite understand why he
I
has been
think in
pitching
the
every ninth inning.
yeah in the future, I think it really has to be Eflin, Alvarado, Dominguez, especially if Dominguez has his best stuff back. But he was throwing some filthy stuff. I mean, that 100-mile-an-hour sinker that sort of ran inside on Dansby Swanson was the pitch of the night. I mean, that was an absolutely ridiculous. But he threw 2 scoreless innings on 18 pitches. If he's back, that is a game changer for the Phils in the postseason.
Yeah, definitely, and just the bullpen will be a little sketchy as David Robertson is out from celebrating Bryce Harper's home run, a little Braves voodoo for you. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think the Braves obviously are still probably the team that I would say would be favored. I just think they're so good after what I saw against the Mets that one series. I mean, this team is just there's just so many guys in this lineup that can just get you at any moment. It's pretty crazy. I mean, they've got obviously Acuna has been bad this year, but he's always dangerous. You got Michael Harris, the rookie, Swanson, Olson, Austin Riley, Darno had a great game on. I mean, there's so many guys in this lineup that can hurt you. So, and their bullpen's pretty darn good too. I mean, Raisel Iglesias, since he's gone there, has been like the best reliever in baseball. Like literally, I mean, it's crazy. We'll see though. I mean, obviously the Phillies do have the advantage now that they won game one going into Nola and Wheeler. Today's a pretty pivotal game. I think if the Phillies go up 2-0, that they should win the series. If today leads to a 1-1 series, I would lean the Braves personally. But
Yeah,
it should be a good series.
I agree. I mean, I just think if the Phils go up 2-0 tonight with two chances to close it out at home,
Yeah.
especially with Nola pumped up starting his first home playoff game, I don't know. I think it'd be. I just don't really. The Dodgers are just so tough, man. Like they really are. I mean, we say this every year though. We say this every year, and then some scrappy NL East team beats them in the playoffs. So we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Maybe it'll be the Phils this year. But yeah, we can jump to the Dodgers. I mean, obviously they win game one against the Padres. I mean, throwing Mike Clevenger out there, I don't quite understand. I guess he's, their best, fourth best guy, but
Yeah, I mean,
not good. The Dodgers, though, they're just so tough, and they're going to be really hard to beat in the playoffs. Everyone knows that. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, this team is just, there's not many holes on this team.
there are
You look
many.
anywhere, and
They're
there's just,
very, yeah.
it's crazy.
I mean, they're just so deep. Like everyone in that lineup is just a dangerous hitter at the end. Like I don't really know what else to say. They're kind of foolproof and flawless. I would like. I mean, obviously their bullpen didn't look fantastic. Like towards the
Yeah.
back didn't look fantastic last night. Or towards the front end, sorry. The back end sort of got the job done. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You just gotta hope for luck to beat this team at the end of the day. Like for over a 5-game stretch or a 7-game stretch in the NLCS, which I think that they'll probably take care of the Padres with ease. Like beating this game at the 7-game series, you just have to run into a team that's absolutely on fire and a lot of luck. Like that's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with baseball. Like if you get hot in the playoffs, anything can happen, and that's going to be the key to beat the Dodgers. You're not just going to beat them straight up. There's no team that's as good as them right now. Maybe the Houston Astros, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, they're just on fire, and like you said, this team. I mean, 3-4 games. I don't. I would. I'm curious to see if Joe Musgrove's the guy who's pitching Game 3. You would imagine. I don't know if that. I think that would line up, which I
Yeah,
feel like you have to do because you can't roll out Blake Snell against the Dodgers because they're gonna just.
Darvish. We'll roll out Darvish. What to my
Well,
next?
Game 2, I think Hughes pitching Game 2, and then Game 3, I would say you have to go Musgrove, especially because you could be down to
Be
an
able to beat
elimination
them?
game. They'll probably get eliminated in 3 or 4 games. I mean, I don't think there's any way this goes to 5. But yeah, I think the Dodgers are on another level. You have to favor them for a reason, and the only way to beat them, I think, is genuinely you have to just hit them. I don't think there's really many pitchers that can stop this offense. Like
Yeah.
I just don't think it's possible. I think you just have to out hit them and work their starting pitching to get to the bullpen because, like you said, the bullpen it's not impenetrable. It's not the greatest thing,
Yeah.
it's the weakest part of their team for sure. So get to the bullpen and see what happens. So I don't think the Padres will do that, but maybe the Phils or the Braves can. Yeah. All right, we'll move to the AL. The Houston Astros, man. I mean, that just feels like a dagger in the series almost for the
Yeah. I
Mariners.
mean,
There's just no way to come back after that, leading 7-3,
yeah.
and then you choke it in the last 2 innings. Jordan Alvarez with 2 outs as a walk-off 3-run homer. I mean, I just don't think there's any way that the Mariners can come back. You get to Justin Verlander, he has a Max Scherzer-esque start where he gives up 5-6 runs. We got Jeff Passan tweeting crazy things on
Right.
Twitter.
That was which he later had to delete. Obviously.
Yes,
It's pretty funny. Pretty
that
funny.
was one of the crazier tweets I think I've ever seen from one of these like news insider type. But that's who Jeff Passan is. Like he's not like you don't
No,
see
he's
that
not
from like
generic, certainly. He's
Schefter,
not-
Rappaport, or like Woj. Like Jeff Passan's a
Yeah.
different breed. But yeah, I mean, what are your
Well, he's an
thoughts on this
actual real
Astros
person.
team?
He's not a robot. That's the
Yeah,
difference.
yeah, yeah. So what are your thoughts on this Astros team?
They're gonna cakewalk to the World Series. I mean, I'm sorry to say it. Like, I don't have faith in the Yankees to beat them at all. And I think that this is a sweep after what I like. Oh my God. Can I tell you something, Griff? Can I actually tell you a story? So I was sitting there with my grandma and my mom last night before I was going out to hang out with some friends because I did have off school today. Sorry about that. And um, my mom made me turn on Jeopardy for like 2 seconds, and that was like on the last play of the game, and so I missed the Jordan walk off, and
Ugh.
I got back to the post game show, and I was like, oh, the Mariners must have won, and I saw the score 8-7. I was like, yeah, man. I mean, Robbie Ray's fastball has kind of been dead for 2 weeks. I don't really know why they brought. I think.
Is he not in the rotation anymore? Is he like totally
Oh, he
kicked out of it?
is. It was just they wanted to bring him in to close the game out. But yeah, I don't know. Questionable management for me. And like you said, I mean, getting to Justin Verlander and losing is just killer. Killer,
Yeah.
killer, killer. The series is over. I mean, the Astros are two. But the Astros, I think, could be my favorites to win it all. In fact, if I had to predict a team to win the World Series, I'd probably pick the Astros just because their starting pitching is ridiculous. Their lineup is ridiculously deep. And they're never out of a game ever.
No, this team is unreal, and honestly, I think the way they played the years since the cheating scandal has just shown. Like,
Yeah, I think
I
there's a
think
whole
anyone who
spectrum.
harps on that still at this point, it's just getting ridiculous because obviously their level of cheating was like, yeah, it wasn't great, but there were other teams doing it, and there still are people cheating in baseball. It's just part of the sport, unfortunately, with
Yep.
sticky stuff. Joe Musgrove, he there was something on that year. I don't know what it
Oh
was.
no! Look at him! Look at this conspiracy theorist.
That was nuts. Have you ever seen an ear sweat like that, Rob?
I think this is clear conspiracy. I think you're a little salty that your team has lost. That's all
I
I'll
don't think
say.
it was sticky stuff. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. I don't think it mattered, but it was a little weird. It was a little weird. And then there was a video today of James Karinchak, who that was like I think clear cheating. He literally had like gook behind his like hair. I don't know if you saw that
I did
video.
not. I have
He
not.
like reached behind his hair, and then you could like see a freeze frame, and there was just like some like brown stuff below his hair, and he's like a known like sticky stuff kind of merchant
Oh
guy.
yeah, everybody. Yeah, everybody kind of thinks that.
So everyone's kind of using stuff, but regardless, um, yeah, this Astros team, this series is obviously over. Unfortunately for the Mariners, like you had your chance to go up 1-0, and yeah, like you're not beating Framber Valdez, and then who's going to be Game 3? Is it McCullers that they'll put out
Colors,
there?
colors
Yeah,
probably.
that, probably a sweep, maybe 4 games. We'll see, but yeah, I mean the Astros team is just ridiculous. Jordan Alvarez is one of the best hitters on the planet.
Yeah, he's the best left-handed hitter in the sport. I would argue.
Yeah,
Right now. Except, I mean, Bryce when he's healthy is pretty good, but
no, you have to give it to Jordan just the way he produced. Obviously, Bryce since the injury was good, but not great. I
yeah,
would argue.
yeah, no,
Um, yeah, but this team is just ridiculous, and they just do it year in and year out. I mean, we've seen them lose guys like Correa, lose guys like Springer. Like these guys were Michael
yep.
Brantley hasn't been playing. Like these guys were all key guys on those championship years, and it just keeps extending. They find new pieces. And that rotation, like you said, is just insane. Obviously, Verlander had a bit of a clunker, but you think you would assume he'll bounce back, but maybe he goes the Scherzer route of these last few starts. I don't know. But yeah, and then lastly, Yankees Guardians. Garrett Cole finally pitched like the $300 million man he is, or
Yep.
yeah, he is, I guess. The series is interesting though. Like I think that the Yankees always had the Guardians number. I expect the Yankees to probably win in 4 games, but Cleveland's got some good pitching, and I think that this
I agree.
series could get very interesting. With Shane Bieber, with McKenzie taking the
They just
bump.
can't hit though. At the end of the
Yeah,
day, they can't
eh,
hit, and it's
against
yeah. It's a formula for disaster in the playoffs. I mean, you've seen this time and time again. Like a team like the Brewers were constructed last year that lost 3-1 to the Braves. Like it's a similar type. Like I just don't see a team like that being able to advance against one of the like either the Yankees or I think that they're probably the worst remaining team in the field for me.
yeah. I mean, I just think their pitching. It's just like interesting because I agree. Like, I'm not denying that the Yankees will beat them. I think the Yankees will win in 3 or 4 games. Um, they do have a very good pitching staff though, and that bullpen has been very good. So if this team can just get a lead and get to the bullpen with guys like Clase, Karinchak, guys like that. I mean, they can win ball games even if they score like 2, 3 runs because of that pitching. So I don't think it'll matter ultimately. I do think the Yankees will win. I am, rooting for the Guardians in this one, obviously. But yeah, it's interesting. And the Yankees, I think they'll win this series, but Dowdy's waiting for them in the next round essentially, and yeah, that I think the Astros will take care of them in 6 games would be my prediction. I think the Yankees can win some in the Bronx, but maybe we'll go 7 though. I mean, it seems like always when those two teams play that it goes 6 or 7. So it's definitely gonna go 6.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Astros winning the AL. Probably. Like, I
Yeah,
don't. I have the Astros winning the World Series, to be honest. For me.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna disagree with you on that at all. But if the Phillies would obviously, beat the Astros if they make it there.
No, I mean that's the script at this point, isn't it?
I mean, a rogue NL East team beating the Astros, yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
if the Astros like won all these World Series, they would literally be like one of the greatest. But then there's the whole cheating thing, I guess. But they could have
They're
literally won like
still
4
like
of these World Series.
they're still like one of the greatest.
Oh yeah,
They're one of the greatest teams ever. Like these stretch of Astros teams are some of the
series that
greatest.
they've been in. 4,
Yeah. Well, 2017, 2019, last year, and
3,
3, 1-1, 1-1 lost too.
and they blew the 2 against.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, gross. The Nats one was really gross. The Braves one was pretty gross, but the Nats one was disgusting.
No, the Braves one was gross. That Braves team was not what it is this
Well,
year.
I don't even know
With
how.
Jorge Soler and
Yeah,
Adam Duvall and Eddie Rosario being like the key guys.
I agree. I
Like
agree.
now the Braves, like
Yeah.
we've seen
All right,
another
hold
year
on,
of
hold on.
Riley.
Sorry. I
I guess they had Freddie though.
just got a notification that the game is in a rain delay, and I want to know when exactly it's going to start.
All right. Well, with that, we're gonna pivot to some
Okay.
NFL talk. Um, so let me share my screen. We're gonna talk about Week 5 here, and we haven't talked NFL now for 2 weeks. So I mean, there's some stuff to catch up on. We'll start with this one. I mean, this is just the Denver Broncos are.
A
I
disaster.
mean, both these teams are big disasters. Like Matt Ryan is. Both of these quarterbacks, I would argue, are washed up. Russell Wilson, though, I mean, I have no idea what happened to this guy. It happened so quickly, so fast. He is just not the guy anymore. This team is just not very good. Nathaniel Hackett has no idea what he's doing. Your thoughts on the Denver Broncos? Also, the Colts, too. I mean, the Colts have been banged up. They're in a terrible division. But the Tennessee Titans are going to do it again, Rob. They're going to somehow find a way to go like 12-5 or whatever, like 12 and
No,
6,
they're
12
not
and 7.
going 12-5, Griff.
They
They're not.
always find Rob.
They've got to
Last
come to
year,
Philly at some point. They,
your thoughts on these teams?
I think both of these teams are complete ass cheeks. Like personally, Russell Wilson is going to be making $54.5 million in 2025. The Denver Broncos are screwed, and they traded away their future. Just bad moves all
Imagine if the
around.
Eagles traded for Russ. I mean, talk about like a
Yeah, Jesus, sliding door moment for sure for the franchise. Yeah, I think. Ooh, I'm in disbelief at how bad Russell Wilson is. But here's my thing. I really question whether it's the head coach. I really don't think Nathaniel Hackett's capable of being a head coach at an NFL level. It was clear that they hired him because they wanted Rodgers to come. Rodgers didn't come. And I wonder if they might even just be better off of cutting bait now. If this team should not be underperforming like this. This team should be a Super Bowl contender. They have an elite defense. They got a supposedly elite quarterback. They have weapons. Their offensive line is banged up, but they still have a good offensive line. Like this team should.
but like the weapons are like these. I'm gonna stop you. Like the weapons have just been over exaggerated by like Cortland Sutton is good. Everyone else on this offense is mediocre. I've seen enough from Jerry Jeudy. This guy is fine. He is what he is. There's nothing. It's nothing. This Jerry Jeudy is not on the level of these other young elite receivers. He's just not. He hasn't done it. He's had all these mediocre weeks. Melvin Gordon is now their running back. Obviously, unfortunately, Javante, and they've suffered a lot of injuries. Garrett Bowles. So
Yeah.
now they're in this terrible spot. I just don't think this team is. And obviously, like you said, like Nathaniel Hackett does need to go. Like they're not going to do it now, but at the end of the season, they probably need to move on because they've invested all this into this one team. They cannot
Yep.
continue to mess it up. And Frank Reich, honestly, is on the hot seat
On
too,
the hot
because
seat. Yep.
even though he's had washed quarterback after washed quarterback after washed quarterback these last days. I mean, when do the Colts learn their lesson, man? I mean, this is getting
Yeah,
crazy. They
it's
are
just
setting.
five quarterbacks in 5 years is just difficult for any team to cope with. It really is.
They're
Really is.
just setting their franchise back year after year because they. I mean, it's just frustrating to watch. There's so much talent on this Colts team, and
Yep.
they just are trading for these old quarterbacks. I just don't quite get it. They're not going to win the Super Bowl with Matt Ryan. They're not going to do anything with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is terrible, and they barely won this game. It's kind of crazy, to be honest, the state of these two teams. And yeah, that Russell Wilson contract extension, I mean, holy cow. Like,
Yeah. Holy cow.
that's going to be a disaster for the Broncos. If Russ can't figure it out, this team is they're screwed. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They are absolutely screwed if Russell Wilson cannot figure this out. They're screwed this year, obviously, with all these injuries at this point. Their season is over. I think everyone would. I'm declaring the Denver Broncos season to be over right now.
Yeah, but
And I guess I'm like,
the Packers in the AFC is shitty, dude. Like, it's not that good at all.
the AFC.
Yeah.
I just think all around the NFL right now.
The Bengals are mid. The Bengals are mid.
I think the best teams are the Chiefs and the Bills. I think those are
But
the
I
top
think
two teams.
there's a massive gap between those two teams and everybody else.
Yeah, I mean the Chargers are we got to stop buying into the Chargers hype year in year out.
You were big on the Chargers. As was I, but you were a massive supporter of the
I
Chargers.
said they would win the division. I said that they should. It's just this is a
The Kansas City Chiefs will win that division until Patrick Mahomes is not the quarterback of that team. That's the fact.
or until Andy Reid is not the head coach.
Yeah, I would agree. But I mean, I think Patrick Mahomes is the greatest pure quarterback. Like, we'll get into the
Yeah.
Chiefs. Sorry.
But yeah, this game, other disaster. The New York Giants, though.
Yeah.
I want to say that this team is going to fall off, but they beat the Packers. They're winning. They beat the Titans. I mean, they're beating good teams. Saquon Barkley, man, this guy is he's back, and he is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Daniel Jones, I mean, you see the stat line. Like, it's nothing special, but he's not turning over the ball. He's not doing anything stupid. This team's getting the job done, man. Brian Dabble, what a job he is doing with the Giants.
Yeah. I mean, this guy can coach. Obviously, they're really well coached. They don't make mistakes. And that's what you need to do to make up for a lack of talent. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, like, it's really a one-man show when it comes to the offense. And Andrew Thomas is insanely elite after struggling his rookie season. He's arguably
It's crazy.
best tackle in the league right now. I mean, this guy can really play. But I still am not convinced on Daniel Jones personally. I think if this team gets a truly elite quarterback, they could really go to the next level. But man, I'm concerned about the Green Bay Packers because they really haven't looked good all season long. They really, really probably should have lost to the Bailey Zapp-led Patriots last week. Who will probably have a 15-year in the league as a career, your 15-year career in the league as a backup quarterback. I think, if you start one game and lose it closely, that's sort of the standard for a backup. But Aaron Rodgers just looks like he doesn't trust anybody out there. He's really trying to play hero ball. The weapons are fine. They're not up to par at all. But the Green Bay Packers are just, their defense looks shitty. Their offense. Aaron Rodgers really just does not look like the same quarterback the last 2 years. It just looks like he's trying to do it all out there. Like, it sort of looks like he's not trusting his teammates. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really see him as among the elite in the NFC right now.
I can't say that he's not among the elite in the NFC because
No,
I don't even
no,
think
I
this
mean
is
the Packers as a whole. The Packers.
Yeah. No, the Packers are right now. They're terrible. I just don't like. You look at the box score. I'll be honest. I was asleep for this game. I didn't watch a single second of it. But you look at the box score here. Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, 19 total carries. I'm assuming that their average was over 5 yards. 5 yards or about or over. 97, 19 for 97. Why did they only have 19 carries in this game? It just makes no sense. You're giving, the receivers, they've sucked outside of Devontae Adams for years now. Like they've been bad outside of Devontae for years, and they are, and it's showing right now. I mean, they didn't do anything. Romeo Dobbs has had his moments. Give him credit. Christian Watson has had some flashes. But Randall Cobb, I mean, Randall Cobb, this is like the corpse of Randall Cobb. I mean, it's crazy that he's their leading receiver right now. I don't get why this team isn't leaning more on the run right now with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. I also don't get why Aaron Jones is not more involved in the passing game. He had 2 catches this game. I think that's insane. I thought Aaron Jones would easily be a guy getting 5, 6 catches a game. So I don't understand that. I just don't understand what this team is doing offensively. Like you said, Rodgers isn't trusting anyone. Nothing's really working. I just don't get it. And I don't get the 19 carries. To me, that's just insanity that's their best part of the offense right now. And there's no denying it. The receivers are not. The running backs are supposed to be the mighty duo, and they're getting 19 carries. I just don't get it. I think they should. I mean, those carries, they should probably be running the ball 30 times a game. Like you said with Daniel Jones, I don't think Daniel Jones is the reason for the Giants' success. I think that this is just a team playing well. They're not making mistakes. And like you said, an elite quarterback is what the Giants need to get to the next level. Wide receiver right now is an absolute disaster for them, which it makes this even more impressive. I mean, Kenny Galladay, I don't know if we'll ever see him suit up again as a Giant. He's just injured. Kadarius Toney, I've never seen a player more injured. It's sad because he's like a really good player when he's played, but I don't know if I've ever seen a player who gets injured more easily than Kadarius Toney. Like genuinely, I'm like it's actually insane. Um, yeah, I just look. The Giants are obviously going to regress at some point. This team is not. I mean, they might make the playoffs. The NFC is not that deep, but yeah, I crazy. The Packers, though, this team is not going anywhere this season. Unfortunately, it's just
I think it's good news. I think that there's an emerging top dog in the NFC. That's all I have to say.
we'll get to your magical. I wonder who you're talking about. Top dog in the NFC. Chargers Browns. I mean,
I'll let you take this one, Griff. Take this one.
I mean, the Cleveland Browns. This team. It's honestly like impressive how this team loses every week when they're up like 2 scores. This might be the worst team at like holding a lead I've ever seen in my life, and just like the last like 2-3 years. This team probably should be 5-0, 4-1 at the worst. Cade York obviously missing the field goal, a disaster for the Browns.
Picker this week. I was pissed. Yeah, I was pissed.
Absolute disaster of that was bad. You have the Jets week, total implosion. I mean, that was insane. The Falcons week was a little like, yeah, maybe they can lose that one. But the Jets in this, I mean, Nick Chubb, man, this guy is special. He is the best running back in the NFL, in my opinion. They have never given him the proper workload, and they still don't. 17 carries. It's just not enough. I mean, this team should not be having Jacoby Brissett throw the ball 34 times. I know they were down and they had to kind of run hurry up, but Jacoby Brissett should not be throwing the ball 34 times in a game. It just shouldn't happen. They do a good job of leaning on, Chubb and Hunt, which I think is good, keep both fresh, but I'd just like to see Nick Chubb get like 25 carries a game and just see what happens with this team. I think it would make a big difference. Their defense also, it's just discombobulated. They have good players, but the organization, the coaching is just poor. So I'm going to leave it at that with the Browns. The Chargers, Keenan Allen's been out basically the whole year. Herbert, he seems like he's just still playing banged up, I would assume. I mean, he just doesn't seem like he's playing like himself. Eckler's really carried this team the past few weeks, but yeah, Cleveland the Browns are gonna brown at the end of the day.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you guys should be, but like, listen, I think you guys are not. Your next stretch of games, I believe, is not very fun.
Yeah, I think it's a really hard schedule. They got the Patriots, which is winnable, very winnable game this week. The Ravens, the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Bills, the Bucks, the Texans. That's then Deshaun's back this week. So, I mean, Deshaun will get to play the Texans, the Saints, the Commanders, the Steelers. So, this team can win like 4 more games with Jacoby Brissett. Maybe they'll make the playoffs. We'll see. I don't know. It's tough to say, but obviously, this team should be in a position where they should be. It would seem like guaranteed to be in the playoffs if they won the games they did early this season. But of course, they didn't. So we'll leave it at that. I mean, the next real game I want to talk about is this New York Jets team. I mean, this Jets team, these rookies are fun, man. I mean, this team, there's so much talent. Breece Hall, Sauce Gardner, man. This guy is already a top cornerback of the NFL. He's fun to watch. Garrett Wilson. It like pains me when I watch Zach Wilson starting just because Garrett Wilson was getting the ball so much more with Joe Flacco. And you just see the talent that this kid has. I mean, he is so good, and he's gonna be so good. Zach Wilson, like I'll be honest, like I just don't know what to think about Zach Wilson. Obviously, he's won the 2 games he's started so far. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Jets, Rob? Obviously, the Dolphins. I mean, right now they're without Tua. That whole thing, obviously, we hope Tua is doing okay and recovering. The whole thing was very scary. They're not going to be winning games with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. But for the Jets, I mean, what are your thoughts on Zach Wilson and the rookies so far?
Yeah, I mean, better start than I expected. I think Breece Hall is an absolute monster. I think he is a very good football player.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's just an infusion of youth has really helped the Jets. I mean, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on whether Zach Wilson is the long-term guy because I think that's like the question that looms large over the franchise right now. But
Yeah.
3-2 is a good start. I mean, they'll probably still only end up winning like 6-7 games this year, but I am impressed. I am impressed by a lot of the young talent, like you said.
Yeah, I think the future is really bright, and I think Robert Sala has done an incredible job with this defense as well. I think this defensive line has really started to play well. If Zach will, if I were to say right now, I'd say Zach Wilson's not the guy, and I think that the Jets need to be honest with themselves at the end of the season. Obviously, there's a long ways to go. He's only played 2 games, and I think what they're doing right now is good, being run heavy with Breece Hall and Michael Carter. I've liked what I've seen a lot. Um, it's just Zach Wilson. I just we've talked about it. This era of quarterback is so good, and I just don't think he's going to be able to get to that level of some of these other guys. And to be honest, like out of that entire draft class, I don't know if any of those first round guys will be at that level. Um, Even Trevor Lawrence, who he had a good first few weeks, but these last 2 weeks has not been very good. Obviously, the Eagles game, I guess it was pouring rain, but last week that team should have beaten the Houston Texans. I don't know what that was about, but it's tough to say. We got to see more from Zach Wilson. He's still so young. He's got a lot of playmakers though, and that's my whole thing is right now the Jets have the talent. They have the young pieces. They're still young. Next year though, these guys with another year, a full year under their belt, they're going to be competitive and they're going to want to win. And I think if you deem that Zach Wilson, if you don't think Zach Wilson's going to be the guy, you got to act because this quarterback class is going to be good. And especially if you're at a pick and you see a guy you like, you cannot be afraid to move on from Zach Wilson. You can't just commit to him no matter what because the quarterback class this year is incredible. I think they're probably already not going to be able to get, Stroud or Bryce Young just out of already having 3 wins. They're probably going to get to, a more 6, 7,
Probably out of
6.
the competition already with that many wins.
Yeah, exactly. So, are any of the other guys better than Zach Wilson? That's what they're going to have to determine. And if they deem so, and one of those guys is on the board, got to make a move because the time is now, and you just can't waste all these players like Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Elijah Vera Tucker. You can't waste these guys because this team could be really special in a year or two with the right quarterback. And that's my thoughts on the whole Jets quarterback situation.
Yep, I agree.
All right, moving on. Let's see what's next. Next interesting game. Geno Smith, nice little revelation for the Seahawks there. Let's talk about the Eagles. We'll talk about both these NFC East teams. The Eagles obviously beating the Cardinals, a much closer game than some of them before, but they're 5-0. They're playing incredible football. I'll let you take this one, Rob. What do you think about the Eagles? Obviously, an incredible start to the season.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't look great last game. They obviously got out to a hot start, but didn't look too great after that. But like if you're a great team, sometimes you have to win ugly games, and this is one of those ugly games. I mean, I think that we just have to be more aggressive. Trust Jalen a little bit more to throw the ball down the field. I think that the defense has to be a little more aggressive. I didn't like how much soft zone they were sort of playing in that game, but I think just more aggression on both sides of the ball. But this is a team that really can win out. I'm telling you, Griff. Look at this schedule. It's
The
it's
whole
it's ugly.
season.
Look at it. Look at their schedule. Just look
Rob,
at
they're
their
not
schedule
going undefeated. Cowboys, that's gonna be a
at
close
home
game.
with
Cooper
Cooper
Rush
Rush.
doesn't lose. Cooper Rush doesn't lose.
Yeah.
If that was Dak, I would give you the W. Cooper Rush, he's got the magic. Steelers, you'll win. Texans, you should win. Commanders, Colts, Packers, you should win. Titans, yeah. Giants, Bears. Wow, this is what the hell? This is the
Yeah.
craziest schedule I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So it's just like bottom feeders. This team really should be like 15-2 by the end of the season.
This is like the easiest schedule I've ever seen.
Yeah. Not a
That's
single.
that's nuts. Because you guys get to play the AFC South and then the North, and you've already
Yep.
taken care of the Vikings, who are arguably the best team. That's crazy. That's a fair point. I mean, I think you'll lose a game. I don't think your team
Yeah,
is,
I think we'll probably lose like this, but like the Eagles are in a very good position, and I actually have kind of been convinced on Jalen Hurts because he allows them to do things that are just like, whew, this guy and he's actually making throws now. He made a throw across his body that last year's Jalen Hurts would not have made last game. Like they just need to be more trusting in throwing the ball down the field. Like I'd like to see AJ Brown with more than 3 catches. But they got a tough, scrappy win, and they haven't won in Arizona in over 20 years. So it was good to exercise some demons. And look, I think that's actually their toughest game for a really long time. Like I think Cowboys at home on a Sunday night, the energy is going to be insane this Sunday. We're feeding off the Phils, you know what I mean? Going to be feeding off a big Phil's NLCS berth. Going to be celebrating the undefeated Eagles. I mean, the city is alive. The city's alive, Griff. The city has sports fever. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good time to be a Philly fan. Basically, all the teams are good right now.
Except for the Flyers. Flyers,
Yeah,
geez,
except for the Flyers.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it well. This team's really good. They're well built. Their defense is playing lights out. Jalen Hurts looks incredible, and I think I agree with you. Like, I don't think it would be smart for them at this point to draft another quarterback. Although I guess, the way he is playing, you pair him in a few first, you can probably land one of the top picks in the draft. So that option probably
They're
will
gonna
be
have one of the
available
top.
to
They
them.
might have one of the top picks in the draft anyway.
Whose picks do they own again? The
The
Saints and
Saints. The Saints.
what? The Saints, what? 2-3, 3-2,
Yeah, God, and they really should be 0-5.
2-3. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. But yeah, they're a good team, and I mean, I'll pivot here to Dallas. This Dallas Cowboys defense, at the end of the day, is what's going to lead this team to where they end up going. It is an incredible defense.
Yep.
Held the Rams to 10 points. Who the Rams, meanwhile, they look like a mess. I mean, outside of Cooper Kupp, this offense is. I mean, it's just like not many good players.
Yep.
But yeah, this Cowboys team, obviously Cooper Rush, like he's just getting the job done, which I think is the key. Like he's when they need him to make a throw, they need him to make a throw. Tony Pollard, like this guy needs to get more carries. It's crazy. Like Zeke
I think
is not a bad. I don't think Zeke's a bad running back per se, but Tony Pollard is just so explosive. CeeDee Lamb is such a stud, but yeah, Micah Parsons, probably the second best defensive player in the NFL to Aaron Donald already, I would say, in his young career, which is just absolutely insane. Trayvon Diggs, he's been balling a little bit. Yeah, this Cowboys team is really good. They've got a lot of good players in here, and I don't know. We'll see. When will Dak be back, and when will they even let Dak come back? Is another interesting thing. Like if Cooper Rush keeps winning, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we'll see. But yeah, Cowboys are pretty darn good team.
I agree. I mean, I think that this defense is really like Micah Parsons. I think is gonna end up probably being like one of the best defensive players of all time. To be honest, like this guy is just an absolute monster in his second season. And look, their formula for success with the backup quarterback is perfect. They're running the ball heavy, it's working, and their defense has been lights out. And the Rams, like I said, you're seeing a little bit of a shift in the NFC. I think back to the NFC East because the Rams are not good. Matthew Stafford. I'm kind of worried he's washed, to be honest with you. Obviously Cooper Kupp is still a beast, but I don't know. I think that the Rams are in a little bit of trouble here.
I just think they need more playmakers. I think you look last year, I think they're desperately missing OBJ, one, but also, before OBJ got there, Robert Woods was there, and Robert Woods was just such a consistent football player, good blocker, good catcher.
Yep.
Allen Robinson, the guy who, was supposed to sign there and be that potential guy, I mean, he's been horrific. And I don't, to be honest, I haven't watched closely enough to see if it's his fault, if he's just not getting open, if Stafford's not getting targeting the ball, but he's been an absolute disaster. Um, Tyler Higbee's kind of emerged as a nice guy, but the running attack is nothing. Cam Akers is terrible. Darrell Henderson is
Terrible.
not
Yep.
good. There's just not a lot of talent on this offense right now outside of Cooper Kupp, and I think it's making Stafford's job a lot harder because he's trying to over target Cooper Kupp, and teams are catching on. We saw that against the 49ers. I mean, Matthew Stafford just kept going to Kupp, and eventually the Niners were like, oh, well, I guess we'll just, put everyone on Kupp and interceptions. So we'll see. Obviously, this defense, you still have got Bobby Wagner, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. So I don't know. I just don't think that this team is as good as they were last year. 100%. I agree with you with that. And I desperately think this team needs Odell Beckham. And you hear what Odell said. He said they didn't offer me what I deserve. So he finally felt like he found a home, and now he's unsure of where he's going to end up. Which they need Odell Beckham back desperately. Even I know he's not coming back anytime soon, but they need him. They need him desperately, and it's showing because this team right now is not very good. So NFC least turned into the NFC best. It's pretty funny.
The NFC.
NFC beast, NFC least to NFC beast. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. We can just jump to the predictions. We'll talk about obviously all these teams basically in our weekly predictions, and we'll start off with the game of the week in my mind. Thursday night football. Commanders Bears. I mean, we're in for an absolute treat, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, what are your thoughts on this one?
I'm gonna go with the Washington Commanders here, Griffin. I'm gonna go with the division rival, a very threatening division rival. One of the best teams in football, led by one of the best head coaches of all time, led by an elite quarterback. I mean, the Bears are the Bears are just a whole nother level of bad. Big Justin Fields fan still. I think he has a lot left in the tank, but man, I mean, they're just a bad team. They really are. I mean, Eddie Jackson might have returned to 2018 form though, which is a really good thing for Bears and for the Bears and their fans. But I'm gonna go with the Commanders here. I think they're due. They've been close, kind of, but they're due. Hopefully, Carson can keep a clean turnover sheet because that guy is an absolute turnover machine. I mean, all he does is turn the ball over. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders here.
I'm going to go with the Commanders too. I think that, yeah, like you said, the Bears are really bad. And I'm a Justin Fields guy, but it's just getting hard to keep defending him. And I think the only thing to say at this point is that you just have to look at the situation. There's no O-line, no talent. This guy's trying to do his best, man, and it's hard. And he had Matt Nagy last year. Their current coach Ibner Furus or whatever his name is. Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched enough of his coaching to see, but I don't know. This team is what is it, like 34 completions, or was that before last week or something like that? I mean, it's a disaster. Commanders they're bad, but they're not as bad as the Bears. They should win this game, and they should win it comfortably. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders. Maybe an interesting. I'm actually thinking of maybe changing my survival pick and going with the Commanders. I feel like that's just too risky, though.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a guarantee.
I got the Bucks, and I feel like I just got to use the Bucks right now against Pittsburgh. I guess spoiling my pick for that. But Ravens Giants. I think this is pretty easy. I think the New York Giants are. They've had a good start, but the Ravens are, I think, going to run through this team, and Lamar Jackson will continue his incredible year. A little shaky on Sunday night, but got the job done, and that's all that matters. And I think this Ravens team is going to continue playing well, even with the loss of Marcus Williams, who just went on IR for, he'll be out for 4 or 5 weeks or so.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Ravens here. I mean, I think that the Giants are good, but I think that 4-1 record is a little deceiving. Obviously, the Titans missed a field goal to win the game that one time. I mean, they got beat by Cooper Rush. I don't think they're very good, but that's maybe the Eagles fan of me talking, but I'm going to go with the Ravens here. Obviously, I think Lamar is a claim. obviously you said a little shaky on Sunday night, but I think he's arguably, been one of the best players in football
Yeah.
this year. I mean, he has been one of the best players in football this year, arguably the best.
Outside of last week, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ravens. Although I think Lamar really is that whole Ravens team, because if they didn't have him, like, that team is kind of mediocre outside of Lamar Jackson. Obviously, Ronnie Stanley has played his first full game in like 2 years last week, but that was big. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ravens here, despite I really Lamar Jackson is I can't believe they're choosing not to pay him. It seems absolutely ridiculous to me. I really like the chances that you're gonna find a quarterback of Lamar Jackson's caliber are very low. And when you already have him, you should just pay him at the end of the day.
100% couldn't agree with you more about that. I mean, I feel like I've been talking about the Lamar extension since I've started this podcast now, and yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It's pretty crazy. Next game, Jaguars Colts. I'm going to go with the Colts here. Like, the Jags started good, but they've fallen back down to reality. This team is not very good. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's improved, but I'm still not wowed. I I just that game last week kind of set things back a little bit for me. Like, there's just against that Houston Texans team that is so god awful, and he scores 6 points. Like, I know his weapons aren't great, but he should be able to do a little more than that. And he was, and I don't know what happened, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts. I think I'm gonna assume Jonathan Taylor plays. Obviously, it's still very unknown at this point, but I'm gonna assume Jonathan Taylor plays and that Frank Reich won't make the mistake he did. I guess the Jags beat the Colts earlier this year, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe they're playing twice in the first 6 weeks of the
6 weeks. Yeah, that is very weird. But I'll go with the Colts, whatever. I'm just rambling on.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jaguars here, actually. I don't know. I think that they're gonna bounce back. I have faith in Doug Peterson. I do think Trevor Lawrence is a little better than you do, obviously. I think they had a bad performance last week, but I do still think that they're not a bad team. I think that they really are, but the Colts are terrible. The Colts have
Yeah,
no offense. Matt Ryan is beyond washed. Their defense isn't anything special. I'm going to go with the Jaguars here, and I think that the Jaguars really can make it interesting in that division. Still, I'm holding true to that.
I think the Titans are going to end up winning the division. And I also like to say the last time we filmed the podcast, the Lions are on bye currently. You did say that the Detroit Lions. I'm not even going to criticize you for it because they were
Oh,
playing
I
well.
mean,
But you said the Lions would be a playoff team, and the
it,
Lions
it
are.
looked like a bad prediction at the time.
No, I'm not like clowning you for it. Just like it's funny to see what 2 weeks and yeah, the Lions
No,
are very bad.
yeah, no, definitely perceptions for sure.
Yeah. Pats Browns. I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns. I'm assuming this is gonna be Bailey Zappi. Um, yeah, the Browns got to win this game. I think that they also are gonna have to stop Ramondre Stevenson, who I do think is gonna have a very good game. I think he's gonna probably potentially run all over them, but if this is going to be a battle of rush attack, I think Cleveland is the best in the NFL. So I got to give the Browns that edge, and they got to win this week. I mean, this is a must-win game for the Cleveland Browns, especially with their upcoming schedule. Almost like a gift, that Mac Jones might not play here because obviously last year in New England, this game was very bad for the Cleveland Browns. So that was with Mr. Baker Mayfield at quarterback, though, who obviously is probably the worst quarterback in the NFL. So I'm going to go with the Browns here.
I'm gonna go with the Browns as well here. I think Bailey Zappi is he's fine. Bailey Zapp, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm gonna go with the Browns here just because I don't think that they're capable of losing this game. Really, I mean, their running attack will probably be able to get the job done against is turning out to probably be another bad Patriots team. And Mac Jones' injury really couldn't come at a worse time for them. Yeah, I don't see Bailey Zapp being able to will a victory on the road for the Patriots. I think that's really what it comes down to. If Mac Jones is healthy, maybe we'd be talking about a different story here, though.
Well, we know what that both means. Both of us predicting the Browns in this one.
Yeah, I mean,
Patriots W.
Patriots will win. Yeah,
Yeah. Bengals Saints. I'm gonna pick the Bengals. I just think that this team, they are 2-3. I think they're better than their 2-3 record shows. I just don't get why Jamar Chase has not really seen the football. He has had outside of week one, it's been a very slow season from a real life perspective and a fantasy perspective. I would like to see him just get the ball. And obviously Lattimore's healthy, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean he'll have a tough matchup this week against Marshawn Lattimore, but this Bengals team, they should be good. That O-line is still really bad, though, and we've seen that. And I don't know why. We talked about it, I think, on the last episode, where it's like, I don't know why people thought this O-line was going to be this incredible unit all of a sudden with all of these kind of average offensive linemen. Yeah, this team is, they're definitely not the best team in the AFC. And I think, but that's they got hot at the right time, and that's why they ended up being, they played a lot of close games. It wasn't like they were dominating opponents in the playoffs. I mean, they were kicking game winners every week, so they just got on the right side of the ball every week in the playoffs. And yeah, I think this team will win this week, but definitely we've kind of agreed. I think that they are not as good as they were, as they maybe were expected.
No, I know what you're saying here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Bengals here as well. I don't think that the Saints are very good. I'm rooting for the Saints to lose every week because of that draft, but they really should have lost to Atlanta week 1. They really should have lost to Seattle last week. I think something encouraging for them is that Alvin Kamara actually looked good this week. It's the first time he's looked good all year long, really. It's the first time he's probably been healthy long. But I still really don't have any faith. I believe it's Andy Dalton this week again, right?
I think Jameis might have practiced today.
Really? That's interesting. But I'm still gonna go with the Bengals here. I think the Saints really are one of the bottom half teams in the NFC. Yeah, I think that this is a team that I think they're 2-3 right. I'd really play them to be honest.
Yeah, the Saints, they're banged up. Mike Thomas is, he's been hurt for most of the year and not good for them. This next game, I think this is my survival team of the week here, the Tampa Bay Bucks. They haven't wowed me this season. This defense has been good. Their offense has kind of been a little, I think they're still trying to find themselves offensively, but this should be a blowout in my opinion. This Steelers team is horrific. They might end up with the number 1 overall pick. Kenny Pickett, he loves throwing them picks. I don't know. He's had a tough start just because of the matchups. I think, this first slew of games that he's starting is not doing him any favors. Najee Harris has become like a non-factor this year also, which is pretty weird and pretty crazy. I don't know what's quite happened with him. I'm going to take the Bucks though. Steelers are they're banged up and they're just not very good. So yeah.
Bucks. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks here, but another game just caught my eye that I didn't even know was happening this Sunday. Buccaneers. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers beating the Steelers here. Because I think that the Steelers are this season is about figuring out whether Kenny Pickett can be a real NFL quarterback, which is why I don't even get why they signed and started Mitch personally. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bucks in a massive blowout here. The Bucks are really gonna be able to feel themselves out here, see where they are as a team. Like I not really see where they are as a team either, but sort of like get some extra game practice reps in, if that makes sense. I do feel bad because there are a lot of guys wasting like their prime years on the Pittsburgh Steelers on that defense. But that offense is just so horrific that it really makes it impossible to do anything.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't even get why this team drafted Kenny Pickett because you look at the quarterback class next year. This team probably should pick a quarterback next year in this draft class, and they probably will pick a quarterback. I mean, I guess where they're picking, if Will Anderson's on the board, that would be a very tempting pick for them. But I think this team will be in a position to get a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud, and I think they need to because I don't know, from what I've seen from Pickett so far, like, yeah, he's better than Mitch Trubisky maybe, but we'll see. We'll see how the year goes for him. 49ers, Falcons. I'm going to go with the 49ers. This Falcons team, I just don't get what they're doing on offense. I mean, they're just not – I've never seen an offense like this where they just refuse to get the ball to their playmakers, especially Kyle Pitts. I mean, Kyle Pitts has been like a non-factor on that offense, which is just crazy. Drake London, he's had some moments, but Jimmy G, man, he gets the job done, and saw that last week. This team is they're efficient. They're solid under him. They'll be a playoff team under him. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. I think they should have a good week. I think George Kittle, maybe this is the week he finally gets going.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 49ers as well here. I hope the Falcons will be healthy. I hope they will throw the ball to Kyle Pitts because he's on my fantasy team, even though they rarely do. But yeah, I think that the 49ers are once again going to make a deep playoff run. I think that they're probably built for it. Obviously, the question is whether you can trust Jimmy G, but I think obviously he'll be fine the regular season. I think this is kind of a no-brainer. 49ers over the Falcons here.
Yep. Jets Packers. This is gonna be a good one. I'm actually pretty excited for this one. Was this the game you were talking about or no? What was the game?
No. The Bills Chiefs game is
Yeah,
one that I'm very
yeah,
excited about.
that's in Arrowhead too. I don't get how that's not prime time, but Jim Nance.
Because
I do like.
come on, baby. There's a better primetime game on this week. Probably not though.
Nah, I don't get. I do like Jim Nance and Phil Simms calling or Jim Nance and Tony Romo. Jesus, Jim Nance and
Romo.
Tony Romo
Jesus. That was
calling the
like
game.
10 years ago,
That was
Griff.
bad. Jets Packers. What do you think, Rob?
I'm gonna go with the Packers here. I'm sorry, Griffin. I'm gonna go with the Packers for a bounce back week at Lambeau. I do think this will end up being a close game where some dodgy Lambeau refing will probably come in to save the Packers at the end. So I'm gonna go with the Pack here.
I'm gonna go with the New York Jets. I think this team is really good defensively, and I think that when you look at these receivers, uh, they're not going to do anything against this Jets secondary with DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner. The key for the Packers, they're going to have to run the football, and I think the same for the Jets. They're going to have to run the football too, and I think Breece Hall is going to have a game. I think Michael Carter will probably get some action in there, and this is going to be a week where Zach Wilson, I think he can start to prove himself a little bit. Probably start maybe getting a little comfortable in that starting position. So I think the Jets are the better team. I've lost faith in the Packers at this point. It's kind of crazy, but this team is I mean, we were predicting this team to win 12, 13 games right, beginning of the season, and they're not even going to come close to that, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the Jets. I think that they're playing good football right now, and they're well coached, and I just think this team has what it takes right now to go in and beat the Packers at Lambeau. So bold prediction, but I'm going to go with the New York Jets. Skylar Thompson and the Miami Dolphins will take on the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, this is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. Watching Justin Jefferson these last few weeks is it's just he's so fun to watch, especially when he's on your fantasy team. But this guy's unbelievable. Those 2 weeks when they didn't get him the ball, it's just weird. Like you got to get the ball to Jettis. I mean, this kid, he might be the best receiver in the NFL right now.
Yeah, he
I
just
think
gets a ridiculous amount of catches. I mean, that's the ball. He's literally a magnet to the ball. I don't think that's a bad take at all. I'd still have Cooper Kupp personally, but
yeah.
maybe Tyreek Hill even. But I don't know. It's just a shame for the Dolphins because I think this was really a team on their way to having a great season, just completely derailed because Tua's brain has gotten completely scrambled. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Vikings here. I don't see Skylar Thompson leading the Dolphins to victory. And the Vikings will be 5-1, which is kind of hard to believe because I don't think that they're that good of a team at all. But I
Are
guess
they 4-1 right now?
yeah, they are.
Wow.
Their only losses to the Philadelphia Eagles, who the very elite Philadelphia Eagles. But I'm gonna go with the Vikings here to make it 5-1. And look, I mean, that's kind of hard to believe to me, but it looks like they're going to win the NFC. I think that they're probably going to end up winning the NFC North, personally.
Yeah. I think they'll win the NFC North, but you never know. I mean, Vikings are. We'll see. This offense has been good though. They've shown their flashes, but they've been in a lot of close games so far. So if those start swinging the other way, their season could go up in flames real quick. So we'll see.
Yeah.
The next game, I mean, this is a joke. This is obviously going to be the Rams for me. PJ Walker getting the start for Carolina now. This Carolina Panthers team finally fired Matt Rule. What a terrible stint as head coach for him. This Panthers team is they are so screwed. I mean, they are just so screwed in they have their first round pick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to draft a quarterback, obviously, with this first overall, wherever you're picking the quarterback. This team is terrible, though. They're probably going to trade a few guys to get some draft capital back because they've traded all their draft picks to get Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. That franchise, I mean, they might be in the worst spot in the NFL right now, potentially.
Yeah. I mean, the Panthers are not going to win very many games this year. Their offense is just god awful. They're wasting talent. They're wasting Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore.
I mean, you talk about the Colts trading for Wash QBs, but like the Panthers were trading for Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. I mean,
And they were just Matt Rule is just not built for the NFL. There are guys that aren't built for the NFL and are great college coaches. Look, Chip Kelly is UCLA at 6-0. I mean, the Panthers are just a poorly run franchise, and they're going to be really bad for the rest of the season. Yeah, this will be the Rams in a blowout.
Cardinals, Seahawks. Are the Cardinals 2-3? Okay, 2-3. They're bad though.
Yeah, I agree.
That team is not very good. I'm gonna pick the Seahawks. Honestly, might be crazy, but
No, yeah.
the way Geno Smith's throwing the ball, man, this offense has been really good. Kenneth Walker is going to start. Obviously, Rashad Penny, unfortunately, out for the season. Very sad, but I'm just not wowed by this Cardinals team. Obviously, this is after this week, D Hop will be back in there, which will be cool to see. But I don't know, man. Seattle at home, this team's been playing well. What are the Seahawks 2-3? Yeah,
Yeah.
good for Geno, man. He's been incredible this year. I mean, the Seahawks literally have the better quarterback over the Broncos right now, and they acquired all those picks. I mean, what a job by them. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one, but yeah, the Cardinals should be favored, I would assume.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable. I mean, I'm going to go with the Seahawks too, actually, here. I think DK Metcalf has had a pretty good year. Tyler Lockett has actually had a pretty good year. A lot of people are expecting them down here. And Geno has really been like one of the best 10, 15 best quarterbacks in football. Like this guy is really slinging the ball. I think that the Cardinals are bad. Kyler Murray has really disappointed me this year. Like I don't think that guy I don't think he's elite by any measure. Personally, I still think he's probably like top 10.
Yeah,
But
elite's probably not elite, but he's good.
He's good. Yeah, but I'm gonna go with the Seahawks here. I think the Seahawks are a better team too. I think that they've had a couple close games that they really could have won. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks here.
Game of the week, the greatest game we've witnessed in our lifetime, Bills Chiefs last year. A rematch. This is going to be, I cannot wait for this game.
Yeah,
The Bills have kind of had the number in the regular season, though. I feel like they won last year in the regular season, maybe match it before, but I don't really know. This should be an incredible game, though. What are your thoughts? I mean, this is, I'm so excited for this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills here, or the Chiefs here, rather. I think that Arrowhead advantage is gonna be huge. I don't know. The Bills struggle in Arrowhead. This is a known fact. They haven't won there in a little while.
Well, I wouldn't consider last year struggling.
No, but I think they get blown out.
They won in Arrowhead during the regular season too.
They did. You're right. But I'm still gonna go with the Chiefs here. I don't know. My Patrick Mahomes bias and Andy Reid bias that I always seem to have is gonna pop up. But I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Yeah.
I really don't know who to pick for this one. Like, it's going to be such a close game. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the way that team is playing right now, look at what they did to that Tampa Bay defense. They're just in a groove at this point. And yeah, Kelsey, what a stat line: 7 catches, 25 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's as crazy as a stat line as you'll ever see. Mahomes has just looked incredible this year. I mean, this guy is not that Josh Allen hasn't, but some of the throws Patrick Mahomes is making are just wow. And this is going to be a great game. I think Josh Allen is going to have an incredible game. I think it's going to probably be both teams in the 30-point range, maybe in the 20s. The losing team like 28, 27.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good one. I am going to give it to the Chiefs, though. Like you said, they're at home, and they're just hot right now. This team is just playing good football. And, yeah, there's not much more than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Sunday Night Football. We all know who Rob's taking, but, give us your thoughts on this game, Rob.
Yeah, I think this is obviously a huge game. Mike McCarthy today said that they plan for Cooper Rush to start, but I really don't know what that means. That could be a distraction. Dak Prescott could be playing, but I don't think he'd be at 100% even if he did play. So I could definitely see a world where Cooper Rush is going to be the guy for them Sunday night. And if that's the case, I think they're going to come in and get blown out by the Philadelphia. Look, the Cowboys defense has been good, but look at the caliber of offense they've played. The Rams offense has struggled. Outside of the Chiefs game, the Bucks offense has struggled. They haven't faced an offense as good as the Eagles offense yet. That's a fact. And I'm going to go
20 points against the Cardinals. I'm not moved.
378 total yards of offense, though. I think we were pretty solid. We just couldn't get convert in the red zone. Whatever. Our defense is elite. All I'm saying, I'm gonna go with the Eagles in a huge blowout victory. A huge blowout victory. I think they're gonna
I'm gonna,
expose the fraudulent Dallas Cowboys with Cooper Rush
I'm,
at QB.
I'm gonna go with the Eagles as well. I think it's gonna be a close game though. I think that this will be relatively lower scoring. That's not a fault on the Eagles offense. I think it's just the Cowboys defense is so good that they're going to hold the Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts will, have some turnovers in this one. I think Micah Parsons will get pressure on the quarterback. The Eagles do have an incredible line though, and I think that'll be the key in this one for them.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Jalen Hurts is going to fare better than most quarterbacks against this Cowboys team, and I think they ultimately will get the dub. Cooper Kupp, the offense, like he's got the job done, but at the same time, like it's nothing special, this offense. And I think that the Eagles right now are just a better team. And I'm going to give them the win. I think it'll be close, like 7 to 10 point difference, but it should be a good game. And I think the Eagles will just pull away in the last, quarter or two.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm gonna I do think that there's like the thing that's key for the Eagles is they need Jordan Mailata to be healthy for Sunday night because obviously he missed last week and Jack Driscoll is definitely a solid replacement. You can tell when Jordan Mailata's not in the game, and we're gonna need him to deal with Micah Parsons and the rest of that defensive line. So that'll be something huge to watch out for.
Yep. And then Monday night, Broncos, Chargers, Broncos country. Let's ride. Yeah, there's no chance I'm picking the Denver Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. This Denver Broncos team they are now so banged up too, which is just unfortunate for them. Garrett Bowles, is he out for the season? Garrett Bowles,
Um, I think he
or
might.
just a
Yeah, I think he
while?
is. No, I think he is.
So you've lost him. You've lost Javante. You've
Yeah.
lost a bunch. It's just tough right now for them, and the way they played last week, it's Chargers should win this game. Offensively, I think they are a very good team. Although the Broncos defense, it's not the Broncos have a pretty good defense, so at least that matches up. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with the Chargers. I think that they're just overall a much better team than the Denver Broncos are currently.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chargers as well. I mean, the Broncos are playing a ridiculous amount of primetime games. I mean, Jesus, it's
Oh
like
my God, what is? I think it was like 4 or 5 and 6 weeks.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, talk about that. That's gonna backfire on the. It's already backfired on the NFL, but
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Chargers here. I think that the
that's
Broncos really are mid.
so we're at 2 preseason, 2 prime times, 3 prime times. So it's 4 and 6 weeks.
Yep.
Vomit inducing. Ugh. That's crazy. They really pushed the Broncos to the forefront of the national broadcast. Wow.
Yep.
Crazy. All right. Well, with that will do it for this week's episode of Outside the Arena. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week with some MLB talk. We'll see if the Phillies can pull it off. Yeah, we'll see what the deal is with the MLB playoffs. Obviously, we'll cover everything NFL news related. It's been a good season so far. And it's been exciting. I love football season. It's always the best and shaping up to be a good year. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at Outside the Arena there. Check out our Instagram. I'll put all that in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. And yeah, we'll see you on next week's episode of Outside the Arena.